Hey everyone, Dan from Telestats here. Hope you're doing okay. I wasn't actually planning on making this video in the end, but I decided to just go for it and just wrap this whole thing up. The original aim was to talk about AJ versus Rose, basically. Look at the dances that AJ was going to do in the final, look at the dances that Rose is going to do in the final, factor in maybe the sympathy vote for AJ and see if she could present a threat to Rose for the win. In the end, of course, AJ has withdrawn from the competition the day before the final. Every bettor's worst nightmare, really. Even if you didn't bet on her, you have to feel for her a little bit. That must be heartbreaking. AJ and I are the same age. She's obviously just discovered that the body isn't working quite as well as it used to. I spent just this week actually overnight in hospital for something that's vaguely age-related as well. So AJ, to physical decline. The Strictly final now boils down to two people. Strictly really could have avoided this. They could have brought the final forward, or they could have done, if in one of the withdrawals earlier in the season, they could have just made it so there was no elimination and you had like two sets of scores for 2 weeks. There was ways to avoid this. I don't understand how the final is going to be particularly entertaining. This series was a coronation for Rose, in my opinion, and now it's just sealing the deal, isn't it? I think Rose is going to get something like 70, 75, maybe even 80% of the vote in the final. She's doing her couple's choice dance. John has always been on that decline, basically since the start of the competition. Rose has always been on more or less an ascent throughout the competition. Yeah, this is the most certain final that I can remember. The other dance they're doing, Rose is doing the quick step, which is the Love is an Open Door one, and John is doing his rumba. Neither of those routines really made much of a mark on the stats, but it never really mattered. As I said in the very beginning, Rose's upcoming victory was never about her dance ability. It was always about the story. It was always about what Rose represents. Strictly has become more X-factorized in that way. My personal view is that of the top four, Reese, John, AJ and Rose is actually the weakest dancer of the four. That's just my opinion. I think Reese is, if you put him on like a professional dance competition, he would be better than Rose. I think John would, and I think AJ would. For me, this will be the biggest win I've ever had in specials. I've won more in politics in the past, but this will be the biggest win I've had in specials since I started in 11 years ago, 12 years ago. I was lucky enough to get in early, and I went in hard, and it's paying off. But it wasn't without stress. COVID has been on my mind pretty much throughout the competition, but luckily it hasn't hit Rose. Although I'm happy, of course, that I'm pretty sure I'm going to win, there is always that reminder with AJ, the foot injury just coming out of nowhere, that this game, you can never really count your chickens, can you? It could have just as easily happened to Rose, it could have just as easily happened to John, it happened to happen to AJ, and because I think most of us have backed Rose, our bets didn't get completely blown away, but it was just purely random. So it's a sobering kind of thought. I'm going to wrap this up now and just say thanks for watching. I hope you took some of the advice in the earlier videos that I made. Basically, the three big ones were that Rose was going to win, the final four was going to be John, AJ, Reese and Rose, and that Reese would be a bottom two assassin, and all of those came to fruition in the end. Hope that you won some money this year. Have a great Christmas. Please be sure to like and subscribe as always, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.